Welcome to the Wrestling Experience,
where we spend more time plugging our podcast than talking about the actual matches.
Yes, I'm Jazz.
I'm Johnny.
And we are the Wrestling Experience Podcast. So if you do like our content, make sure to subscribe. You'll find all the information in the description where to find us in the interwebs, social media, and etc. But we are here to recap SmackDown, which was a bumpy ride. I didn't really enjoy this episode. Like, I know we try to be as positive as we can, and we do try to see the positive in everything. Yes, we try to. The second half of SmackDown was definitely like a lot better than the first half of it. But I would say more swings than hits. So
it was about 50-50 if we're really counting here.
Absolutely. So the show does open up with the dirt sheet, and they talk about, how tonight they're going to expose, Bayley's vicious attack on Sasha Banks, and they're going to dig into the Samoan family secret. But first, they want to talk about the sudden departure of Mandy Rose to Monday Night Raw, and we get a quick recap of Talking Smack last Saturday, where The Miz made the groundbreaking announcement that Mandy Rose was traded to Raw. We don't know what she was traded for, but she was traded to Raw. And he says that does
a trade work if you just give it away?
For future is that
how it works?
That
is
in
it
sports
a trade?
Sometimes too, for future considerations or whatever. But essentially, The Miz.
What do they do in sports entertainment?
I don't know. Clearly,
That's the real question.
We don't know. So essentially, The Miz is like, listen, I'm not trying to play mind games with Otis. I'm not trying to one up him or something like that. I'm just, I just want to help him out. Like, I want him to be, I don't want him to be distracted, and I want him to be at the top of his game, and I want him to be the face of this company.
He knows what he's talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because
he
was a former Money in the Bank, right?
Absolutely. So, with Mandy gone, he can now cash in his Money in the Bank. So, that's also very exciting. And that way he can propel himself to the top of the WWE. And the funny line, though, he's like, well, you know what? From what I hear from my friends on Raw, Mandy Rose has already moved on. And then John Morrison says, I'm sure that they want to do more than smell that rose.
Ouch. Another great line was Morrison being a healthy part of everyone's breakfast. He was part of everyone's breakfast. And his tidy whities comment about Otis wearing tidy whities, that was also pretty big burn. And it plays into the next half of this segment.
What a great segue.
Crazy.
You are such a smart man, because Otis comes out and he's storming.
He's upset.
And he's upset. And he starts beating down on The Miz. He starts beating down on Morrison. Even Tucker joins in on the fun. And they both clean house. And they celebrate, and we're told that we're going to have a Samoan Street Fight, and we're also going to have an exclusive interview with Sasha Banks. And then the beating doesn't end there, because Otis kind of goes back into the ring. He strips The Miz to his tidy whities.
I guess Otis was a fan of the bra and panties match from the days past.
Yeah.
And I guess he went for it. So the tidy whities, the whitey tidies, they were exposed, and the whole segment went full circle just on the theme of tidy whities, which honestly feels like it was written by a 5-year-old. But it wasn't the worst thing, or maybe it was. I don't know. What do you think?
It was all right. I thought it was an okay segment. I feel like with The Miz and Morrison, it's never in the middle. Like, it's either really, really funny or really cringy. And this one was okay. Like, I didn't really have any complaints. Like, it was quick to the point. And back from the break, we're actually backstage with Kayla Braxton, and she's interviewing Miz and Morrison. And, The Miz kind of gets a call from someone, and his plan worked. We don't know what the plan is, and we don't know who this person is, but The Miz has a plan. So I guess we're also going to find out some more of that later on in the show. But we do have Gran Metalik.
What could he be plotting?
Well, yeah, what could he be plotting? So Gran Metalik is in a match against Cesaro, but before the match, we get a video of Kalisto and Lince Dorado kind of bickering before the match, and we see more of that throughout the match, with each of them trying to coach Gran Metalik. And at one point, the ref kind of just has enough, and he just kicks them out. And
would you like me to stop you if we've heard this before, though? Because it's the same stuff they've been doing week after week.
Yes,
so
yes.
So let me stop you.
But there was a really
let me let you continue.
Thank you so much. There was a really notable spot in the match where Gran Metalik kind of hit a sweet-looking Hurricane Rana from the top rope. And Cesaro, again, like, as good as he is wrestling, he's also an amazing, like, he does such a great job of selling as well. And he does try to follow that up with a moonsault, but Cesaro actually counters with, kind of putting his feet in the air. And he hits an uppercut, and he wins with the neutralizer. So pretty decent match between them. And again, for me, Gran Metalik has been really impressive. And I'm actually happy that the three of them, of the Lucha House Party, are kind of getting some time on SmackDown.
It's nice to see them have this feud where they're starting to hate each other. But I want to talk about the moonsault for a second, because I could have been mistaken, but when Metalik went for the moonsault and Cesaro held the foot up, I feel like one of his Metalik's feet just stomped on Cesaro's chest. Did you see that, or was it just me? Did I miss? I
wasn't looking too deep,
brutal.
man. I wasn't looking too deep. I'm sorry. Like, I know that you like to go very in depth, but I just...
Of course.
So
they call me the analyst.
There you go. So we are backstage with Kayla and Jey Uso, and we are reminded multiple times that Jey is Roman's cousin, and who's also The Rock's cousin. And
who?
Who? Yeah, and Jey kind of talks about how he and Roman have been kicking ass since they were little kids, and tonight's going to be no different, even if they are kind of in a disagreement a little bit, and they're gonna kick ass even with what Roman did last week with what Heyman called it a misunderstanding. So, I guess
miscommunication.
Miscommunication. Yeah, there you go. So same thing. They're tomato.
Just being thorough.
Thank you very much, Mr. In-depth analysis guy.
You know about it. But more importantly is what comes up next, right?
Because
in case you were wondering if there were more than one way to say bro, there in fact is. You can express a variety of emotions by saying the word bro, because Matt Riddle says so, and he shows it to us. What does he express? He expresses anger, joy, sadness, fear, confidence. Too.
No, but here's the thing. I thought that this was pretty funny. Like, the whole segment was called Know Your Bro. He talks about, the word bro being a universal language, and so it kind of evokes and it conveys many emotions. Listen, like, I thought it was fine. It was silly, but it was not like cringy silly. Like, I don't know, like, they're giving him some sort of character, and I like the way that they're doing this. I don't know, like, I don't mind it.
I don't hate this segment. If it sounded like I hated it, then I apologize. This was actually pretty good. He's not wrong. He's absolutely right. You can say bro and it can mean a million things. I could be like, bro, when I'm upset with you, or I could be like, bro, let's go. I'm happy. Let's go do something.
Or be like, bro, let's do this. Like, let's fight. Bro, what's up?
Bro.
Right? Bro.
Why'd you call me? What?
What emotion are you trying to convey right now?
Bro, confusion. You can't tell.
Well, there you go.
I clearly have to work on my bro-ness.
Yes. So now we have Alexa Bliss, and she's hosting a Moment of Bliss, and her special guest is actually Nikki Cross. And so Nikki Cross comes out, and she's really excited. She's pumped up. Alexa Bliss, she congratulates her for being the number one contender to face Bayley at Clash of Champions, Gold Rush, or whatever they're calling it. I feel like every pay-per-view has a slogan now. And
I can't wait for Great Balls of Fire to come back.
So Alexa Bliss is like, listen, I want to ask you the questions that that they want to know. And she's like, what's your plan of action? Because to be honest with you, all summer long, you've been facing Bayley, and you haven't been able to beat her. The last time you actually beat Bayley was a year ago.
Rude.
And Nake, who's, she's like, oh, wow, you really are going deep into this. Well, this time it's going to be different because there is no Sasha Banks anymore. Like before, with Sasha in her corner, I would have to have eyes in the back of my head to be able to kind of keep up. And this time around, I can really focus on Bayley. And, Nikki is kind of all fired up at this point, and she's like, listen, I'm going to become the new WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. And now Nikki has a question for Alexa Bliss, and, she wants to know what's kind of going on with her, because Alexa Bliss, if you remember last week, she hit Nikki Cross with the Sister Abigail after, I believe it was Michael Cole that mentioned the Fiend's name.
And the good news is you don't have to remember because they recapped it.
Thank you very much.
So don't even worry about it.
So Alexa says that, listen, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, there's a change and I don't know how to handle it. And, I guess she was going to say some more, but Lacey Evans kind of cuts them off. And she's teaching both of these nasties some proper manners. And, I remember at one point she's like, we're not in Dr. Phil here, right? And basically she's like, Bayley is going to have something that you'll never have, and that's a mean streak. you're too nice, you're too weak, and you don't have a backbone. And I believe this is where Nikki's kind of had enough. She takes Lacey's handkerchief and she kind of blows her nose, and she starts shoving her, and we find out that they have a match coming up next.
And most important of all, Lacey said she was also too short among the list of being too weak and whatnot, because apparently the shortness was an important detail that she had to mention.
That's true. So now Alexa Bliss is on commentary as Lacey Evans is following proper COVID protocols by disinfecting her hands. So how nice of her to consider everyone, right? Yeah, with hand sanitizer. And
well, she had that dirty handkerchief, so like it only makes sense that she would need to sanitize here.
Yes. So Nikki is all fired up. She's hitting a top rope splash for the 2 count. It doesn't take long for Lacey to kind of take control of the match and kind of just slow down the pace, and she starts working on her arm like a lot, to the point where even commentary was like, work. Yeah, I remember to the point where even commentary was like, man, Lacey Evans is really dominating this match. But the story,
they got bored though.
Yeah,
they started talking about their podcast, which was way more important than the match itself.
It's true.
If there's one thing I understood from that match was basically, so you remember how I had a theory that maybe Nikki's gonna beat Bayley so that Sasha and Bayley could be a feud without the title? Well, clearly this segment has shown us that is not the case whatsoever.
Throw that idea out the window, because
throw it out the window. It's not happening.
And I remember on commentary, like Michael Cole was really like being a really good journalism, because he really wanted to get to the bottom of it, and he wanted to find out what was happening with Alexa Bliss, like what was going on, like what's this transformation of hers. And Alexa Bliss kind of changed the subject, and he started talking about how mean that Lacey's been, and that Nikki Cross is a firecracker, and she doesn't need to show, I guess, the antics of Lacey Evans to kind of beat Bayley. So,
and the whole time, I'm thinking to myself, why don't they just say the word fiend? I'm pretty sure that's going to do something or trigger something.
Yes.
But it doesn't. Unfortunately, we have someone like Lacey Evans there to help us with this, because, I mean, I'm jumping a bit ahead. The match is pretty okay, I guess. Once she stops working on the arm, Nikki's able to take over.
Yeah, but the thing is, the one thing that bothered me is that towards the end, she took the hand sanitizer, and then she started just spraying it
in her eyes. And even Michael Cole wants the ref to call for a DQ, but the ref is just like, just put the hand sanitizer away, but doesn't call the DQ. But apparently, hand sanitizer to the eye really upsets you, and Nikki got fired up and was able to basically take over the match from there. Yeah. And that's where Lacey Evans is like crawling up, trying to pick herself up from the outside near the commentary table where Alexa Bliss is still there, and she says the Fiend, and then the camera like zooms into Alexa's face, and that's where we see that she enters the trance-like state
again.
And then she delivers a Sister Abigail to Lacey and walks away. It was
so
it took Lacey to call her to say the Fiend, and then Michael Cole's like, she said the word.
So it seems that it's the word fiend that kind of triggers Alexa, and she kind of goes into this trance-like state, and that's it. So I'm like,
they really spelled it out for us, though. In case you were wondering, it was very clearly spelled out.
So
no mystery there.
This is probably one of the positives of SmackDown for me, because like the story for me is still very, very intriguing. Like, I don't know where this is gonna go. Do I expect Nikki Cross to beat Bayley? I don't think so, because I really do feel like Sasha and Bayley has to be for the title. And Sasha even mentions it in her interview, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I think that Nikki might put a valiant effort. I don't know if I don't know if actually Alexa Bliss is going to interfere. I don't know. It's all a mystery. But
Bayley's just going to say Fiend. She's just going to say Fiend, and that's going to trigger it. But yeah, there's absolutely no way that Nikki Cross is winning the title, unfortunately. Like it was clearly spelled out in this segment.
Yeah.
The match went on for way too long with the working on the arm. I guess the commentary really needed to have their podcast conversation come to an epic conclusion.
Yes, absolutely. So
but we can move on.
We're going to move on. We have a quick shot of Sasha Banks being set up for an interview. But before that interview, in a neck brace, but before that interview, we get a video package of Wrestling Bloodline. So, we get to see, Natalya, we get to see Bret Hart, we get to see so many legacies. We get to see Ric Flair, we get to see Charlotte. And, once again, we're reminded that Roman and Jey Uso are cousins. I feel like that's kind of like the story of SmackDown. So we get to see The Rock, we get to see Umaga, we get to see Yokozuna, Rikishi, and so this is all narrated by Paul Heyman, who does an incredible job at doing like the narration of this. And they talk about this being Roman's birthright, that that the family may all feast at the same table, but there is only one ruler and there's only one tribal chief, and that's Roman Reigns. So I have to say, man, that was a pretty damn good video package.
Yeah, as far as video packages go, this one was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
They also mentioned that Jay's accolades as well, but he's kind of like reserved as the tag team guy and not the main guy.
And we all know how the WWE feels about tag teams, right?
Please don't break up Miz and Morrison, though. That's too good.
Yeah, so one tag team that was broken, though, was Sasha and Bayley. And now we get to hear from Sasha, who has a neck brace on, as you mentioned. Michael Cole kind of asks her about the extent of her injuries, and she simply just says, well, I'm here, right? Like, I'm here.
With a bit of tears.
Yeah, So, he mentions, what Bayley said about, Sasha basically keeping Bayley close, using her until, waiting for the right moment to strike. And, Sasha is like, again, this was such a good promo by Sasha. Like, to be honest with you, like, I don't think that Sasha is the best promo in, like, the women's division. I feel like sometimes it's very, very stiff, but I felt the emotions because I remember at one point Sasha was talking and her hands were like trembling like this. And it made me believe it even more. You know what I mean? Like, she basically talked about how she heard every single word that Bayley said last week, that, she's at the Performance Center right now giving this interview, and it makes her sad because this is the place that they built. They talked about their dreams. They talked about their goals, talking about what they wanted to do together. And, Sasha did such an incredible job in this. And, like, she talks about how now she walks these walls and she sees, these girls coming in now. And it's because that they did this together. And it just kind of hurts her that Bayley did what she did.
Yeah, the delivery of this promo was really solid. You really felt the emotion. It's very easy to empathize with Sasha and root for her. And even more so with what happens next, Bayley showing up with a chair. I'm sure it's the same chair. It has to be. And she also gets Sasha's neck right between the chair again and goes and tries to go for the finish. But thankfully, security does put an end to it before it gets too bad.
I was going to say that Bayley has gone full Ciampa.
She's gone crazy.
She's trying to... And let's not forget, though, that before she got attacked, Sasha clearly mentioned, she's like, well, since I'm useless to you now, I'm gonna be the one to take what you love the most, the SmackDown Women's Champion. So again, it feels like it's gonna be for the title, right?
Sorry, Nikki. Yeah, it's 100%.
But yeah,
sorry,
so
Nikki.
I was gonna say, I'm not really a funny guy, but I was gonna make a joke saying that maybe Sasha can put out a bounty for the Mandalorian to take out Bayley for her.
I don't know what that means, but okay. I'm sure.
Did you not see the trailer for The Mandalorian? Sasha Banks is in it.
Okay. Nice. No, I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, moving on now.
Shame on me.
We do have AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. We have the uncrowned IC champion versus the one that never lost his IC champion.
But they still won't announce him as IC champion. And Sami Zayn's upset about that to the point where he gets ambushed before the match can start, which is not cool because, come on.
So
AJ.
I do have to tell you this one thing. This match was really, really good. Like, I remember at this before this match, we were texting each other and we're like, SmackDown is kind of a drag. I felt like the Alexa Bliss stuff, the Sasha Banks stuff was kind of like going upwards, but before that it was like really down. And this match kind of brought it up for me. Like, I thought it was a really, really great match. It's like, I feel like I would do a disservice kind of just saying that it was great, lots of back and forth, like but like I wrote down some like notable points in the match. Like at one point Sami attempted a haluva kick, but he missed it completely, hitting his foot on the ring post. And Styles actually followed that up with a phenomenal forearm on the outside. And again, like, there was a lot of great evenly matched strikes, but then AJ Styles kind of took advantage, hitting the Pele kick, as they call it. But Sami Zayn kind of counters and he hits the Blue Thunder Bomb. Like, so, like, it was just like, it started off really slow, but the match, man, like the pacing of the match was just incredible. And like these are two of the best performers, so I'm not really surprised that we got like a little snippet of what we might see at Clash of Champions.
This is just a taste, the tip of the iceberg. And what we're going to see at Clash of Champions is probably going to be really good because of what we discover soon after the match is over.
Yeah, and the way that the match ends, though, is like Sami Zayn, he actually, he tries to roll up AJ Styles, and he kind of holds his tights, and the referee sees that, and you know, like, the ref wasn't having any of it. Like, she was like, no, like, you're cheating. And, like, throughout the whole commotion, AJ Styles kind of rolled him up, but AJ Styles was also holding his tights, but the referee didn't see it, and she counted
and then
the 3.
she was like, and then when Sami Zayn confronted her about it, she's like, no, he didn't have your tights.
Yeah, exactly.
And props to her, because something as deadly as pulling someone's tights should be, you know, considered illegal and not counted. Unlike, you know, a simple thing like throwing hand sanitizers into someone's eyes. Like, that's a normal thing that would happen in a match.
That's a fair point, man. But Jeff Hardy comes out. Jeff Hardy is out, and he's livid.
Yeah, he beats everybody up, takes out a table, takes out a ladder, beats everybody up, pulls the mic, says he's tired of this, and he wants a ladder match, triple threat for the IC title at Clash of Champions.
I'm so excited about this. That's excited about this. Like, I think that this match could even be the match of the night at Clash of Champions. I feel like the 3 of them have, like, you know, like, the 3 of them are veterans, and I feel like they're able to steal the show. And I actually don't know who might win this title. Like, if I had to choose, like for me, it's basically between Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy. I don't think that they might give it to AJ. But I feel like it might be like between those 2. But either way, like, whoever wins, man, we are the actual winners for being able to witness this match.
It needs to be Sami, though.
It needs to be Sami, of course. Montreal's own Sami Zayn, right?
Come on.
So now we are backstage with Heavy Machinery, and some random person just kind of comes in, and he's like, "You got served." And Otis is so funny. He's like, "Serve what?"
Yes, this is hilarious.
He's like, "Serve what? A hot dish? A buffet?
What are they serving?"
Like, you know, food. And Tucker's like, "Actually, you've got served a lawsuit." And, you know, a lawsuit. And it's essentially,
he looks so confused.
Like, they got sued for, I believe it was emotional distress and creating an unsafe work environment. And
First Amendment rights too, negligence for the Money in the Bank, lots of stuff. There was a huge list of things.
It was basically like a whole list of issues that they had, and they basically wanted him to forfeit the Money in the Bank contract, or he's going to court.
He has 1 week. Imagine that.
1 week. Hey,
that's realistic.
How convenient!
That's realistic.
How convenient that a week from today is next week's SmackDown.
1 week exactly at this time during the filming of our work thing, SmackDown, we're doing it.
Oh my god.
Very bizarre.
Lovely. But now we have Go on.
What was most bizarre here was there was a commercial break between this.
Yeah,
like, there was the first half of the segment, and then a commercial, and then the second half. I'm like, okay, sure. But yeah,
maybe
that was
they had time
minor
to go
issue.
to catering and grab something to eat and come back.
If you were tired of random guys in your segments, well, here's another random guy in a segment, because what's next? Corbin and Sheamus are backstage, and then some guy shows up, and Sheamus is like,
guy.
"Oh, this is the guy."
What are you talking about? Yeah, it's
some
the
security
same
guy.
Yeah, it's the same security guy that lured Big E, right?
Yeah, well, to me, he was a random guy, and Sheamus was praising him because he was the guy who lured Big E. But the best part was when he tells him that, "Sheamus, your car is being towed." So Sheamus clearly wants to go see what's up. And then there's a random person with their back turned that Sheamus is yelling at, who's clearly Big E. And he's yelling at him, and Sheamus has no idea until Big E turns around. And it's a shocking revelation, and Big E attacks Sheamus.
It was shocking me all along.
It was like the time Sting had a Sting mask in the crowd. Shocking. So then Big E beats up Sheamus for a bit, but Sheamus escapes because he's got a match tonight. And then Big E violently beats up the random guy, and he calls him Larry too at one point. He's like, "I'm gonna call you Larry. I'm gonna beat you
the
up."
security guy. But Big E, man, he actually kind of on the hood of the car, he hits him with the belly to belly suplex on the windshield of the car, actually breaking the windshield. As the referees, they weren't able to contain Big E, and then Big E kind of picks him up again, opens the hood of the car, throws him in the hood, and then that's where Adam Pearce. Yeah, but there you go. But that's where Adam Pearce comes in, and he tells Big E to leave. So Big E showing a mean side, but he was all fired up, and I can't wait to see Big E beat the holy hell out of Sheamus.
It's good because they hyped the whole Big E singles run the whole time for the last few weeks, and I'm like, wow, he gets taken out and completely ruined when he gets a title opportunity or an opportunity to be number one contender. I'm like, wow, they chumped him out that quickly. So now it's good to see him back and I guess turning to a more aggressive, fired up side.
So before we get to our main event, we do have a very quick video package of the mystery woman. That's clearly Carmella. It's. I have nothing more to say besides that we have a mystery woman.
Carmella's back. Carmelina, as we would like to call her.
Yeah, probably.
Remember Emelina?
Yeah.
You do now.
So now we're going to jump to our main event. Before the match starts, though, Roman... Again, let's not forget that it's Roman and his cousin, Jey Uso, right? I just wanted to make sure. Roman gets on the mic.
Are they cousins, though?
They are cousins.
Are they first cousins? Second cousins?
I promise you they're cousins. So
Can I get a birth certificate, please?
Oh, my God. So Roman gets on the mic, and he says that, listen, I wanted to come out first because I wanted to make something clear. This is my yard. This is my island. And anyone that, kind of challenges that, well, come take it away from me. So, very, very short, very concise, but Roman was, basically he's a man of few words now. And
I like it.
Yeah, I love it too. And the Samoan Street Fight begins, and all hell breaks loose. It doesn't take long for the action to get kind of taken outside as Corbin throws a chair on Roman's face. I thought that was a pretty funny visual.
So funny. That was so funny.
But then Roman does kind of, fight back, hitting him with a few chair shots of his own. But some like I wrote down a list of some notable moments, but then I realized that the list kept getting longer and longer. But essentially, we had Sheamus and Corbin working on Roman Reigns, and they kind of threw him on the announce table. Jey Uso at one point, when Roman was sleeping at the announce table, Jey Uso got double power bombed onto the table, but only got.
I thought it was over.
Yeah,
I thought it was over.
Yeah.
That was like a crazy false finish. Yeah. I thought it was over.
And then Reigns kind of gets back up, and then he launches the announcer's chair at King Corbin, which again was really, really
He had
funny.
to one-up him.
Yeah, and then I remember at one point he also low blows Sheamus, and he hits the Samoan drop on the announce table, and then he spears Sheamus onto the barricade, breaking it in the process, and he hits, and so now they're back in the ring, and towards the end, Roman Reigns hits the spear on Baron Corbin, but then Jey Uso, he kind of quickly Roman's cousin quickly hits the splash to get the win for his team. So this week
he did hit Baron Corbin with the Universal title, which is an important detail.
That is true. But so basically, this match, I thought it was entertaining from the beginning to the end. They got about 7-8 minutes. It was high octane stuff. It was just really brutal. I personally thought that it was really, really entertaining and the right way to end SmackDown. And what I actually liked even more is what happened afterwards. Because last week, Roman was the one that kind of one-upped Jey. And this week, Jey is the one that kind of one-upped Roman in the sense that he kind of stole Roman's victory. And Roman Reigns actually looked really surprised. And he kind of gave him a cocky smile, too. And even Heyman...
But he wasn't a fan of the fact that Jey picked up the Universal title and was looking at it and admiring it. And then when he threw it to him, it looked like Roman was getting a little bit warming up to the whole thing. He started smiling. They started embracing.
They hugged for a long time, dude.
For an uncomfortable amount of time. But they're cousins,
it's
okay.
It's all love. But I thought that Roman was going to attack him. I'm surprised that he didn't. But they did such a great job. If you told me a month ago that Jey Uso would be in a Universal title scene, I would be like, you're crazy. But I freaking love this. This is so good. And Roman, the way that he was smiling, and then as kind of Jey exited the ring, Roman's smile just turned into just deadpanning, was pissed. I loved pure hatred. I loved the way that it was all done. So again, kudos to them for kind of taking a meh beginning of SmackDown and kind of bringing it back up to a decent episode. So, I remember at the beginning we said that it was not that great, but now that I think about it and we're talking about it, they kind of hit everything, they were firing on all cylinders towards the end, and it ended up being a really good, a decent episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, it was definitely bottom heavy in terms of all the good stuff was at the end.
Yeah, for
sure. I hope Roman's teeth are okay because he took quite a few slaps. I remember at one point he took a weird knee to Sheamus.
Man,
Sheamus absolutely destroyed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add to the point that you made that you thought Roman was going to turn on Jey at that point. Mm-hmm. It really felt like it, even though I wasn't expecting it. But strangely enough, I also kind of felt it earlier in the episode. I thought Tucker was going to turn on Otis for some reason, just the way the camera was shooting and the delays when they were in the ring. Is he going to turn on him? I'm like, no way. I felt the same feeling in the main event as well. But again, I'm like, no, it's not happening this time. It's too soon for that.
Can you imagine that the person that called The Miz was actually Tucker, and Tucker turns out to be a lawyer, and he's the one that actually, like, he's the one that's actually kind of helping The Miz and Morrison sue Otis? No, like, this is stupid.
Like,
I don't even want to partake in this.
I hope that's not the case. Like, it would be super, like, it wouldn't be unexpected if they did something like that.
Tucker,
but
no, wait, can you imagine Tucker? I'm sorry to cut you off, but imagine if Tucker was, all this time that you've been hanging out with Mandy and having, steak dinners with her and everything like that. I went to night school and I got my diploma in law, and now I'm a lawyer, and we're going to sue you.
Because it's not unreasonable for them to write a storyline where Tucker feels neglected and overlooked when he's, in fact, the better performer. I just don't really want to see that one this time.
Yeah, I don't want to see that, man. You don't need to break every freaking team either.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't want to see that particular turn, or at least, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. I feel the same way as you. So that was our recap for SmackDown. Again, as we're talking about it, I feel like it made me realize that the episode wasn't actually as bad as I thought, and I was probably being really harsh. It turns out that you're right. Like, it was a very bottom-heavy episode, and at the beginning, it was a little, like, let's just say that it took a little while before it started, firing on all cylinders. I think that's an okay way to describe the episode.
Yeah, it would. This was the perfect episode to start tuning in at 9:00 because you had a late dinner.
That's it.
Perfect episode.
So, again, as I was mentioning at the beginning, make sure that if you like our videos, if you like our podcast, make sure to subscribe, and you can hit the bell icon so whenever we do upload our videos, you get notified right away, so you can watch us and you can like our videos and you can tell us how great we are. And in the description box below, you'll find where you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and even where you can send us an email with your questions. And that's it. That was our recap for SmackDown.
Love it. Dude, I can't believe we said bottom heavy twice. Maybe that was not the best way to describe what we were trying to say.
Well, what does bottom heavy mean?
I don't know. I was thinking top heavy, bottom heavy. Like, top heavy meaning top end is good. It sounds weird. Oh well.
I'm going to cut you off right now.